This is the Jonathan Mason Show. Let's get right to it.
If you're tuned in, this is your boy Jonathan Mason live to you in the city of Minneapolis, Twin Cities and beyond. This is the Jonathan Mason Show. You guys seen your boy in action yesterday. It was Juneteenth, so it was June 19th, 2025. And in Minnesota, if you guys are, and I have to give you guys this backdrop, a lot of people were saying, hey, Jonathan, you got to tell them your story, who you are, what's your cause, what's the next steps, what is your agenda, and articulate it to the people, because, you know, on Facebook, I was getting 4, 8 million, 10 million views, and I'm like, something's going on. I keep on not being able to go live. I had an operation. It's called Operation Pull Up here in the Twin Cities. And then I started early 2025, and I knew everybody, you know, would start copying, and they have, you know, and but they don't have Jonathan Mason, right? And you have to be strategic when you do this work. You know, the police are doing Operation Safe Summer. It hasn't been a safe summer because there's been mass shooting after mass shooting, killing after killing, bodies, people being lost. We're still looking for Manny Collins. And I hate to say this, but I'm in fear of saying justice for Manny Collins. Manny Collins is a missing kid here in the Twin Cities, and everybody's been looking for him. Also, we had another body, the Marquise or Maurice Jackson. That is Maurice Jackson with St. Michael. So we have these incidents going on. So it's been a wild summer, but let me go back and kind of tell you all about me, right? My name is Jonathan Mason. I'm from the Twin Cities, born and raised, went to elementary, middle, high school here in the Twin Cities, you know, played sports, went to college. I went to the University of Wisconsin-Stout. I ended up finally getting a degree in criminal justice. Got that in my 20s. Began my career at Minneapolis Public Schools. You know, I had many jobs, but I kind of started working there as a behavioral specialist. Worked at Harrison Public Education Center. Was hired on as a dean over at Minneapolis Thomas Edison High School, and then initially just ended up being a behavioral specialist behind that as well. But then after that, I started my own consulting firm. I ended up suing Minneapolis Public Schools and winning. And so that kind of led me down a different path. Always was outspoken, but was always a furious fighter, right, on the ground. Here within the Twin Cities, and growing up, I had a good childhood growing up. I had my mom and my dad. My dad died when I was 12 years old. And so as a young black man in Minnesota, I had to figure out what is this all about? Why do I feel the way that I do? Going through my education in institutions here in the Twin Cities, you realize that there's two different systems, right? And so that led me down another path, especially working within education, and then getting out of it, doing my cultural competency. A lot of people know that I have a small business, a consulting firm that it started with a furniture company, but it ended up, due to COVID and everything else, turning a cultural competency firm. I do, you know, I'm on a speaking engagement tour right now for colleges all across the country. I was just over at Minnesota College, Minneapolis College. And we talked about, you know, what Dr. King's legacy was and how to get engaged civilly, without breaking the law, right? And that's, you know, key to being able to create the change that you want to see within the guidelines, the stipulations, within the rules and laws and constitutional laws that can get things done. And so that was my mind frame. So growing up, you know, always getting into fights, right? I was a furious little guy. But it was always well intentioned. There's reasons why I got into the fights that I did. Typically, if somebody called me the N-word, I'm knocking you out. I used to, not anymore. I get called the N-word hundreds of times a day on social media, but that got me triggered to start going down this path of an awakening process that changed the course of human history, right? And so this is why a lot of people are like, bro, you got to go bigger than Facebook. You got to go bigger than Instagram and showing minimal of what's going on due to the fact that I've always been in war mode, right? I'm not much of I am a social media guy. They call me you an internet ass nigga. I'm definitely on the internet. I love it. And so are they, because they see me on the internet all the time. But it led me down this path of saying, hold on. I see these injustices. What am I going to do? I'm not looking for the police to do it. In Minnesota, within the Black community, North Minneapolis community, that you cannot rely on the services from the Minneapolis Police Department. As a young Black man, I've been harassed by the Minneapolis Police Department hundreds of times, pulled over for no reason, given tickets for no reason. I just actually got some tickets today, basically for no reason. And so when you're in this system as a young Black man, you can become frustrated. Now, luckily, thankfully, I found my mission. I found my gift. I found what was my passion for life, and I ran with it. Not only did I ran with it, ain't nobody else running like this because it's not their path. When you're tuned in, and I always say when you're tuned in live with Jonathan Mason, and I'm transitioning now because we are with the Jonathan Mason Show, that we ourselves, and going back to the awakening process and creating change, we ourselves can make this change, and this is what I did. So within our community, when I was in the Minneapolis public schools, I seen these disparities. To catch you guys up, this is 15 years in the making. I'm not going all through the 15 years. You're going to see on this page me pop George Floyd off. If you guys know anything about Jonathan Mason and you type it in, Jonathan Mason on Google, Minneapolis, you're going to see the actions when I pulled up on the lawyers, pulled up to Derek Chauvin's house, guns and all. You see me shut down Hennepin County District Attorney Mike Freeman's house, guns and all. Had a nice picnic and party out there. He ended up eventually moving. But this is the pressure that was needed, and I did it constitutionally. And so now, as it's progressed after I got out of the Minneapolis public schools, and I'm going back to the story, I'm referencing multiple things. I need you guys to follow these episodes. I did yesterday episode, which was Operation Pull Up. A lot of you guys, once again, like I say, in the beginning of this year, I started Operation Pull Up. You're going to see all your local leaders started doing it. I knew Operation Safety Summer was coming, even though, once again, we had the mass shooting. So yesterday, I pulled up to Hennepin County, that's Hennepin County Sheriff Dewana Witt's office. It was closed due to Juneteenth being a holiday. A lot of people are frustrated. Some people are frustrated. Some people had a good old time. I went to Juneteenth yesterday. You will see that episode dropping. I should drop it tonight. I'm just editing and doing all of my own pieces. But I pulled up to Dewana Witt. And you seen the episode yesterday. You know that we seen the energy here, especially within the last week here in Minnesota, because Melissa Hordman got shot and killed, her husband shot and killed, their dog got shot and killed. This was by Vance Luther Bulletier. That is Vance Luther Bulletier, who shot and killed these people, these political individuals within our community. We knew these individuals. They were good people. And like I always say, we do not condone any political violence. he dressed up as a police officer, white guy, and we're going to break down everything that happened, right? And maybe we should, but when Vance Luther Bellatier shot and killed Melissa Hortman and her husband, and then drove over to John Hoffman's house and shot him and his wife multiple times. They're saying 4 to 9 shots apiece. I'm like, dang, 50 Cent, what? I'm like, wow. We're going to see a local law enforcement response that we've never seen in the history here in the Twin Cities in a very long time. And I shouldn't say in the history because I don't want to overplay that, because I do say in the history because we make history. We've made history. So, but we haven't seen that type of federal response. You know, we had the 35W bridge. Yes, we had George Floyd. Yes, and we'll talk about all of that and all of the various things that I did to pop George Floyd off, if you're just tuning in for the first time. And you can go on Facebook and look it all up. Jonathan Mason popped off George Floyd and did it the right way. I went down to the homicide investigator doors. Open up. I'm filing a homicide against Derek Cho. The police homicide said F you and all that. And then I sent it up, and it was the rest is history. And we're going to be talking about that. But when we seen the response from Melissa Hortman, a white woman, a liberal white woman, get gunned down, and her husband get gunned down, her dog get gunned down, and John Hoffman get gunned down by the political assassin Vance. We seen this response all over. Everybody was ready to go. Boom, boom, boom. Ironically, though, a week before that, we had a mass shooting here in the Twin Cities. It's the Boom Island mass shooting. Over 200 shots fired. Multiple people shot. One will never, he's a quadriplegic. He's got shot from the neck down, will not move his arms, legs ever again. We got Stagina killed. She was killed in the 200 shots. It was horrible on how it happened. She's a mother of an 8-month-old baby, looking for her mother. There's no response here in the Twin Cities for it. I'm like, what? And there's no description of the car. There's no suspects. We ain't heard nothing from Brian O'Hara. We heard nothing from Jacob Fry. We ain't heard nothing from DeWanna Witt. You know, everybody. And then what's so crazy is, not only that, we had the fake ICE raid. Man, and you've seen all these people. This was after Stagina got killed. Pretty Pre, they call her, also known as Pretty Pre in the Twin Cities, got murdered. No response. Black Lives Matter, no response. Everybody knows Black Lives Matter in the Twin Cities. Mason done already exposed them for the frauds that they are. One of them had, and these are the allegations, Trey Hearn Cruz had the Cash App, and this is from Minister Toya. And she sent me the videos in the Cash App screen apps, and she's admitted to it. She's got to talk to it. But he had that one of them had that Cash App, BLMMN Cash App, getting thousands of dollars from the work that Jonathan Mason was doing. You know, I see them running around with Nikema. We already know Nikema's nowhere from Minneapolis, Minnesota. She pops up. She was doing the No Kings March, but she's nowhere to be found for Pretty Pre. So you're nowhere to be found for Pretty Pre. BLM is nowhere to be found for Pretty Pre, a black woman killed by a mass shooter. We don't know the suspects. We don't know the victims. They're assuming it's a black person, the witnesses in them, and no one's talking. The killers are amongst us. So me, as the individual I am, I stood up and said, that's it. Not in my hood, not in Minneapolis. And they know I'm the only one that can be able to talk like this in Minneapolis, North Side, South Side, East St. Paul, and everywhere else. Because I've been doing it for the last 15 years. And so this pressure that's coming now is a new type of pressure. So when I went down to DeWanna Witt's yesterday, and you guys will see that on the first episode, just go back, subscribe to my channel, like my channel. I will be dropping older videos, new videos, the truth on what's going on in Minneapolis. Nobody in this history got no content like this. I go down to Dewana. So a black woman gets killed. Ain't nobody, Nakima Levy Armstrong, she know that they ain't said nothing. Ain't nobody saying nothing. Mason gonna stand for our black women here in the Twin Cities. I don't, white women, black women, brown women, whatever. And all the women reach out to me. The baby father is tore up. The dad is looking for help. The GoFundMe we're not getting none. And then right after that mass shooting, we have the fake ICE raid. The fake ICE raid was about, let me tell you, they thought it was about immigration and them deporting people because Donald Trump and them was running around, and we talked about the feds being here. You guys are going to catch up to all of this. I know my episodes are going to be longer in the beginning. We're going to try to keep them around 30 minutes apiece, 50 minutes apiece, but we're going to break this all down for you. And I got all the content for you guys that you guys need. She gets murdered. No response. We get the fake ICE raid. Mason shuts it all the way down. I shut BLM down. I shut all the colorful shirt Negroes down. And you'll hear me say this a lot. The colorful shirt Negroes are the individuals that take this prevention of violence money. Well, everything is going violent, and they're never getting nothing done, right? And so, we have these groups that came in after. This is after I was already doing the work for 15 years. Brothers like Jamil Jackson, we know you won't bust a grape in a fruit fight. And many people seen his Paul Bloom Fox 9 interview. His Fox 9 interview, that was Jamil Jackson with, he's the, it's CEO is the nonprofit, or Run and Shoot is his company, or whatever they do. He's on Paul Bloom looking absolutely silly. Oh yeah, we double billing the city. I didn't double pay my salary. I got to check in the numbers. Paul Bloom said 180 hours. Wow, when do you sleep? I don't know what's going on. I know I didn't sign up for this work and all this other stuff. Look at his damn interview. You're asking yourself, are you kidding me, Jamil? So all these black men in the city, we can't rely on. I know them all. I know the ones that's been out here forever. I've been seeing the Sharif Willises. I've been seeing the Jerry McAfees. I've been seeing the Spike Monsters all my life. But my energy was different out the gate. Not only will I fight for a black woman that's been killed by police, I'm a fighting the police if y'all kill one of us. See, this is what separates me differently from Nakima and them, differently from McAfee and them, differently from Sharif and Spike Moss and them. And many of you guys will see this video that I'm going to post about, and that was about 2-3 weeks ago when I pulled up on the north side, Plymouth and Penn at URock. They want to have these galas. I always say they at the gala this, gala that. Rise to remember Minneapolis kids, the family. This is what they're saying. The family of George Floyd don't even want these people saying their name no more because it's been billions of dollars that have been confiscated through people in the hood, in these nonprofits, and milked on, and they're calling it theft by swindle. That's what Hennepin County District Attorney Mary Morey is saying. She's saying it's theft by swindle. Bishop Harding Smith, he was the one that just got charged for theft by swindle and theft of wages. And this is what they're doing. Many of these guys get this money, once again, from the work that we're doing. We're on the ground. We're out there speaking loud. We're out there applying the pressure that needs to happen, right? Then when the city and state wants to slow us down, they go to give this money up. They go give it to these fake nonprofit, fake activists, don't get nothing done Negroes. And they sit up there and they pray and they're vultures to our community. This happens every single time you apply pressure. But Mason circumvented all the bullshit. I changed the ball game. I've exposed the system and the game being played around the system. I know my opponent, who the leaders of oppression are. It's not hard to tell. I've got through the multiple levels of bullshit here in the Twin Cities. Led that. Led that. Ooh, shut that down. Shut that highway down. Go over there, shut that down. What Black Lives Matter there, man? Y'all ain't on nothing. Quit speaking for us. See, that's the energy. Because if it ain't the energy, then what are we doing? What are we doing? Because there's no changes. I'm looking at the disparities in Minneapolis public schools. And I say Minneapolis public schools, being a former worker there, being a former employee there, I realized the game they were playing. For the black kids, it's EBD, emotional behavior disorder. The white kids, it's ASD, autistic. They put the white kids in the autistic programs, the black kids in the emotional behavior disorders. The black kids are the bad kids. They're just emotionally, they don't have a dad. This is what they're always saying. Then we're asking the teachers to do the work. They don't want to get nothing done. I'm not just the activist that's fighting against police brutality. I'm the activist that's going to fight against Red 40, like I've been doing for the last 10, 15 years, before Robert Kennedy. You guys will see the episode when I went up, I was with my sons. I go up to the, they've sent me to the FDA, but the Department of Agriculture, the FDA, Minnesota FDA, they didn't open up the door. They called the police on me for saying, stop poisoning us with yellow 6, red 40, red 6, red 20, yellow, blue, green 5. No. When are we going to say enough is enough? So I'll activate over that. I'll activate if police kill us. I'll activate if a killer, one of these gang members shoot. I'll activate over this fentanyl being sold at 36 and Penn. Chief Brian O'Hara that I've emailed you on. Dewana Witt, Sheriff Dewana Witt at Hennepin County Sheriff Department. They're selling fentanyl over at 36 and Penn. That's 36th Avenue North in Penn, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Right there off of 36 and Penn, quick stop. But I have to be loud and vocal. I can't just do it on Facebook Live now. I have to show the world what's going on. This is a new type of pressure. If you're tuned in, this ain't Anderson Cooper. This ain't, and this is the energy that I give all the time. This ain't Fox 9. This ain't Care 11. This ain't WCCO. No. This is the Jonathan Mason Show where we're pulling up. This is the Jonathan Mason Show that we're demanding answers, and we got the solutions to our answers. Everybody knows that Minnesota is one of the most amazing places in America for white people. But on the contrary, Minnesota is one of the worst places for blacks in the United States. Well, you just saying that. No, I'm not just saying that. I'm saying that because when you look at the disparities, when you're looking around the proficiency numbers in reading and math, you say, okay, how are we 49th out of 50 of the United States for black people, and in the top 15 for white people on graduation numbers in literacy or proficiency in being literate in reading and math? Explain this to me. No, well, what schools are doing that? I go to Minneapolis public schools all the time. I talk to the superintendents, Lisa. They got a black woman there. I'm the one that ran Ed Graff ass right up out of here. He didn't change nothing. Like I told him when he first got hired from Anchorage, Alaska for $250,000. They needed $250,000 to interview this white man from Anchorage, Alaska to come fuck our black kids up over North Minneapolis. We're 49th out of 50 in the United States of America. And that's behind Wisconsin. The Midwest, this is the Jim Crow of the North. Don't be fooled. The Minnesota has long, deep history And I talk about the historical pieces of Minnesota, not only because I'm going to be in the historical pieces of Minnesota by leading the George Floyd movement, by leading the Dante Wright movement, by leading the Philando Castillo movement, leading the Justine Damond movement, leading the Thurman Blevins movement. And then after all of those in George Floyd, and I thought the world would be all around the Ricky Cobb movement, no one was around to be found. I'm still on. It is June 20th, 2025. That is June 20th, 2025, and it's approximately 3:30 p.m. It's a hot day in Minnesota right now. So I'm giving you the description, the time, the dates, exactly what's going on. Very humid outside. It's about 91 degrees, 90 degrees. Real live content, real time feed, real news you can use. This is the Jonathan Mason Show. So we're saying Jim Crow of the North, the Minneapolis public schools, horrible for black students. So it has to be the Trumpers. It has to be the Republicans. No, well, it looks like the Minnesota Teachers Federation, they endorsed every DFL candidate. So they're 100% Democratic. You ask all the teachers who voted for Biden. Okay, good. I like that. Who loves our black children? You're going to fight against ICE if these kids get... Who's failing these kids in the school? Raise your hands. It has to be all of you, because you guys are the teachers. I look at the staff directory at Lucy Laney. That is the worst school in the district for our young black kids, right off of 36 and about 35th. Yeah, about 35th, 35th, 34th and Penn. 35th and Penn. Right there, the school right there. 5% in reading and math. Reading, 7% in math. Proficiency. Our young black kids can't read and do math out of them schools, and they're getting $1 billion budgets. These white folks is right. That's why I'm screaming RICO charges. RICO, help! This has to be racketeering. The white kids are doing good. All the black kids are doing bad. All the liberals are teaching. All these teachers, and they got pride flags in every single room. They're for the people. They've never missed a pride march. They love our black people. Our black kids are failing. I've coined it, and many of you guys know this in the Twin Cities, and I've been talking about this for years, over 2 decades. The school to prison pipeline. The school to prison pipeline. You graduate, there's nothing for these young black kids to do. They get into some mischief. The police are going to get your ass. You get charged, you get charged. You go to Stillwater, you're in the system, you're on the north side, it's hard to get out. You're not being hired at Medtronic as a heterosexual black man. And if you are, you got to throw away the key. You're neutered. That goes for any. You can't speak about what's going on in the Middle East. You can't talk about Theodore Herzl in Zion. You can't talk about these things. You better not. And this is why I have shaken up the Twin Cities and beyond. As the police murders were going on in the Twin Cities, I knew something was off. I said, if they can keep killing black folks who are unarmed, I know I can make some ruckus off of this. This is unbelievable. Am I the only one that's seeing it? Am I the only one that's checking the proficiency numbers in reading and math for the Minneapolis Public Schools and St. Paul Public Schools at Olsen Middle School? Mr. Don Allen? There's a guy by the name of Don Allen here in the Twin Cities. I always go back and forth with him. I was on the show with him after Ron Edwards passed away. And we don't, he was found in his apartment, an older man, but he knew a lot. He knew like I knew a lot in the Twin Cities. And now, we had a show and it was called Our Black News. Well, I apply too much pressure. I got everybody nervous. I see everybody, oh my gosh, Mason, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I'm like, why am I putting so much pressure on people by just telling the truth? So then I said, okay, cool. Now, Mason, hold on. You shaking them up. Everybody's seeing it. You're more articulate than everybody. You see it differently. You're not running around with liberal white women from BLM talking about white saviorism. That's Nakima and them. That's Nakima and them running around behind these white women. And then they say the Assata Shakir speech. All we got to do is loose our chains. All we got to do is, if we're not slaves, shut up. This is why I told Marquise Armstrong, her husband, and this was at U-Rock when he slapped my phone out. Everybody's seen it. I got it on video camera. Y'all don't scare me. Y'all ain't getting nothing done, Nakima. Oh, you're demonic. Shut up. Speaking of demonic, you didn't say nothing about Leslie Redmond. She gay now. That's what they said. Allegedly, she got a wife, a girlfriend. Only she can tell you. Is it true? Is it demonic about homosexuality? If y'all want to start condemning me for speaking out against the bullshit y'all doing, why don't y'all ever stand up now? Why? These are the questions I ask these leaders in the Twins, and these quote unquote, they're not leaders from here. Leslie Redmond ain't from here. I say they first and last name. That's another thing I do on YouTube. When I tell the truth, I say their first and last name. Leslie, you ain't from here. You sound like you from Baltimore, I think you said. I don't know where you from, but you're not from Minnesota. Nakima, you ain't from here. Tim Walt's the leader. Then listen to this. All the leadership and the first two, Leslie and Nakima, ain't got no leadership roles in the Twin Cities. So don't get it twisted. But I'm talking about the elected leaders. Tim Waltz is from, I'll start at the top. Tim Waltz ain't from here. Tim Waltz ass is from Nebraska. Keith Ellison, he ain't from here. He's from Michigan. Brian O'Hare, that's the Minneapolis police chief. He's from New Jersey. Jacob Pry, he's not from here. He's from Virginia, Oakton. I know it. Don Samuel's ass ain't from here. Nakima Levy Pounds ain't from here. She's from LA, Oakland, I think. Michelle Phillips, I love you, girl. She's not from here. She's from Baltimore. I'm going down the list of people. Ain't none of y'all from here. And so when Mason says ain't no leadership, Minnesota leaders have to speak up, I'm talking about us. We get all these people that come into the Twin Cities and think they're running something, and they're causing straight chaos. Jacob Fry won't leave. He's done running for mayor. Minneapolis mayor. I was just at the event. He said, breaking news, I'm not running again. Shit. So what you gonna get done? What you gonna get done? I know all these young black guys in the hood want to take pictures with you, Jacob. That's not me, big dog. I don't run around taking pictures with other men and Kool-Aid smiles with politicians to be cool. I've already been cool. I don't know. I don't need likes. I don't need no more women. I tell them, stay out my inbox talking about Grand Rising King. I got black women from all over the world talking about Grand Rising King all damn day. This is the reality that what we're dealing with here in the Twin Cities, and it's not a ball game. I Grand Rising King, Grand Rising King, Grand Rising King, Grand Rising King. When are we going to Grand Rise our kids to get this proficiency done? Because I'm going to keep pulling up to Minneapolis Public Schools. I'm going to keep pulling up to Lucy Laney. I'm going to keep pulling up on Lisa. I'm not, like I told them, Racial Justice Network that is sitting down having read-alongs, Dr. Seuss books, and young black kids who wrote little books about their hair, and which is cool. I love y'all, and I know you guys are, and I'll tell you guys, we got to moisturize our black women hair. It's okay to put Batana oil in it. Batana oil in it. Batana oil in it. Do you think I'm glitching? I'm not. I'm just saying it repetitively so my young black women can know. Put the jojoba oil, the chiba oil, the castor oil your hair. Don't put the synthetic wigs on. And I've told Leslie Redmond that many times. It's cancerous. Oh, Mason don't like black women. The first time they said I don't like black women because my mom was white. This is what they do. It's colorism. But I run right through these folks. I can be light-skinned and straight hair, mama white. I'm still a nigga. I'm out of a black man's seed sack. His daddy is black. His daddy is black. Do you guys know how? Well, you talk about science all day, but you never talk about the science. You just don't. So you're trying to stop a man that's making change because you guys think that after George Floyd, now it's time to go get all this money. Well, let me tell you guys something. And Bishop Harding Smith, one of the colorful shirt Negroes who just got charged with wage theft and theft by swindle. It was all in the news. You're going to start hearing more of those cases. We talk about, and I'll talk about the colorful groups. We had Mad Dads. I ran VJ ass up out of here. They're the green shirts. We got We Push for Peace. Those is the red shirts. We got 21 Days of Peace. That's the orange shirts. Then Jamil got his ass out here, took our brothers up out of our guns. In the bulletproof, they had the freedom fighters. And I'm wondering where the freedom fighters are now. I keep on telling them, I email the brother, them brothers can't stand me. Because when it was 2020, when I turned the pressure up in the Twin Cities, I had all the groups and Jamil and all these groups. Brother Mason, you leading the way and you the leader of this movement. And this is what they all was saying. I'm shutting down highways. I got the feds, helicopters everywhere, big guns out there because we are constitutionalists. We believe in the Constitution, but I'm a conservative black man. This is the unicorn moment. This is the anomaly. I'm a conservative. I know about Margaret Sanger, the eugenicist. And then you guys have to look up what eugenics is. She was trying to eradicate the black race. You think I'm finna... And then I talk about the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party was started by the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. Wake up, black folks. Then you voted for Joe Biden, who did the 1994 crime bill that did mass incarceration and locked you Negroes up, and I always say the math, for 30 years for a crack rock. Fast forward, 1994 crime bill, you get locked up in 94, 95, gets in the office. So 2025, all you Negroes are coming out. That's 30 years from now. 95 to 2025, 30 years. Math always is going math. So now these black brothers are getting up, and now they want you guys to riot. Do you guys get it? Are you paying attention yet? Black America? You're the linchpin. We're going to be talking about all of it. I don't want to be all over the place. I got to get you guys caught up. This is the Jonathan Mason Show. The content is going to be crazy here. I'm doing Operation Pull-Ups today, tomorrow. All of that content's dropping. This is episode 2. Fast forward, I talked about what's kind of going on the ground right now. We just had a mass shooting at Boom Island. 200 shots. Pretty Pre, Stage Gina. We're looking for the killers. I'm on the ground now. If you know who killed Stage Gina, Pretty Pre, please reach out to me at the Jonathan Mason Show at gmail.com. That's the Jonathan Mason Show at gmail.com. You can also reach out to me at live with Jonathan Mason at gmail.com. I'm the one that receives the emails. People know I'm interactive. I can do all of this. No problem. I am building a team. If you want to work, if you have been doing the work, I don't want somebody that says I just want to jump and do it. No. I need great white sharks that are ready to get in this work to not sell out. We have so many people tap dance. I always say they tap dance. They scratch their head when it don't itch. They're running around dancing. Ain't no music on. They're at galas and galas all day long. We see gala this, and my sponsors and them and that. Get some work done. Stage Gina, ain't none of these groups in the Twin Cities doing nothing for Stage Gina. Pretty Pre. None. I'm looking for the killers on the north side right now, and we're getting real close. And so If you got a tip, let me know exactly who the shooter and the killer was. I will keep you anonymous. Also, if you were doing justice for Mari too, she was a young girl who got shot in the, I believe in the head, but got shot and killed at Sanborn Park. Multiple, it was like 50 shots. We have a switch problem, and switches are the accessory that goes on the gun. Everybody named Mama got switches here, so all you all day long. So it sounds like Iran. And so we're looking for the killer. And we're screaming justice for Mari, justice for Pretty Pre. We got justice for Melissa Hortman, or accountability. We don't say justice, we say accountability, because justice would be bringing the loved one back. They're not coming back. And so we caught the killer on that. We got to get back focused on the mass shootings. I don't want to forget that here in the Twin Cities. I'm going to catch you guys up on what's going on the ground. This is another cool thing about Live with Mason. Once I get to 1,000 followers, I'm going to be going live like this regularly. I'll be dropping episodes. I'll be dropping information. I'll be dropping historical facts. I'll be talking about Theodore Herzl in 1897. I will be talking about the American Homestead Act of 1862, when every single white person in America got 160 acres apiece. I'm going to be dropping this knowledge. I need everybody to share, get in tune, subscribe at The Jonathan Mason Show. That is subscribe at The Jonathan Mason Show. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. Go to your Facebook and go hashtag Live with Mason, hashtag Mornings with Mason, hashtag Leaders Must Lead, hashtag these things, and see the work that I've done. Don't take my word for it. I'm all about action. People can talk, but are you willing to walk? And I'm going to show you guys how to walk with The Jonathan Mason Show. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, like and subscribe this channel. Share it to your friends and your family. If you're a Black African American here in the not only in the Twin Cities, but in the United States of America, I'm here for you. We're leading the fight against discrimination cases. We won. And I'll talk about the lawsuit that I won against Minneapolis Police Department, the city of Minneapolis, in the state of Minnesota, in Bob Crow, right? In the case, you can listen to the case number. The case number and name is Samaha. That is SAMAHA versus the city of Minneapolis in the state of Minnesota, in the Minneapolis Police Department. I sued them federally. We won. Class I don't play any games. So if you guys want to get in tune, this is about doing the good work. Everybody says, Jonathan, you're doing God's work. You're doing God's work. Yes. It's not my will, but his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And we have to really do this. Am I a religious person? No. Is his name Jesus? No. His name is Yahushua. So we talk about those truths. They're uncomfortable. We talk about no graven images, like it says in the Bible. No graven image. So why do y'all, and go to these churches and say, why is Caesar Borgia on the wall? Look up who Caesar Borgia is. See about these different things that we'll be breaking down here on the Live with the Jonathan Mason Show. So it's not about just police brutality. It's not just about education and transforming the education systems in the areas of proficiency and getting our kids into the trades and the things that they need. It's not just going to be about us taking the poisons out of our food and making sure that we have a holistic approach when it comes to our foods and products that our citizens and our humans digest and consume. It's not that we're going to keep fighting only for the missing children, because we will. We're fighting on the ground against these killers in these gangs. We're breaking down, we're finding the cartel members, we're getting them cleaned out. We're not focused on this political realm, because I've seen many political figures fold, right? We're seeing Ted Cruz. He's all over the place. We just seen him with Tucker Carlson, and this is why I was telling Royce White, if you know Royce White, this is my brother, I love him, I got love for him. I got him going politically, right? Don't forget, he voted for Biden and Kamala, so I'm not stupid. I know what he was doing. I was arguing with his ass then, saying, come on, guys, what you doing? Now he's a far-right candidate. You know, he's trying to figure out his way. He's my little brother. But when you see individuals, in whether it's political or not, start speaking the truth. My brother does speak the truth. I know where he's at in his course of speaking the truth, and he will come home soon. As he comes home soon, the work's still got to be done. I still got to pop out in these streets. Ain't nothing get done. I'm in these trenches, baby. And so, you know, as we're changing the political realm, we're getting these individuals involved. We're cleaning out the political world. We're exposing it. We're going to speak the truth. But we're going to keep it hard on these political figures. If you think you're going to get into American politics and think Mason, who is a political genius, a political strategist, the Mason, you're like Peter Navarro, you're like Steve Bannon, way better than both of them. No pun intended, no disrespect, Steve, because, you know, I've been with Steve Bannon before. I've been in the war room. I've been around these individuals. I know these individuals. I'm different. You know, I can talk the politics. I can talk the historical pieces. I'm not an Alex Jones. I'm not a Royce White. I'm not a Steve Bannon, right? But I'm Jonathan Mason. And we've already shaken. And I was just talking to somebody and they reached out to me and said, Mason, do you know that I looked it up and that you started the largest movement in human history right out of Minneapolis, Minnesota with George Floyd? And it dawned, I looked it up. What was the largest human movement in history? 2020 George Floyd? Oh my gosh, Jonathan, you popped that off here right out of Minnesota. We know it's 94% Scandinavian. I call myself the Black Scandinavian. And like I always say, you know, y'all can't take that. I am the Black Scandinavian. But this is Scandinavia. And the black people here many of them won't bust a grape in a fruit fight. And this is why I'm on their asses here in the Twin Cities and beyond. This is the pressure of the Twin Cities. This is your boy, Jonathan Mason. This is the Jonathan Mason Show. I hope you guys are in tune, loving it. Share, like, subscribe.